Let us start the second lecture of module 3 of the marketing course entitled The Art and Science of Marketing from Basics to Breakthrough. I, Dr. Asutosh Mohan, Associate Professor at Institute of Management Studies, Banaras Hindu University, welcome you again for the module 3 Understanding Marketing Environment, the Marketing Information System, Planning and Competitor Analysis, and this lecture 2 is specifically devoted for role and components of marketing information system. So, let us have the details, have the understanding of marketing information system. So, what are the learning objective of this session? This learning objective of this session is basically defined into or categorized into 3 specific way. Defining the marketing information system, definitely it is an obvious thing for introducing what exactly the marketing information system is or supposed to be. Then understanding the role of MIS in decision making, how MIS can help marketer to make some informed decision. And finally, what are the different components of MIS which need to be understandable to each and every marketer. Let us establish the relevance of marketing information system. Suppose it is an hypothetical story and suppose there are 2 retailer or 1 retailer who listened to the data which he gathered with the operations at the marketplace. A very small apparel store owner who started tracking the customer preference using a simple MIS, simple system installed at the billing counter, very common thing to watch, to find nowadays in different retail stores. Now, over a period of time, the store owner tried to find out the patterns in data, and what he discovered? He discovered that certain colors are sold better during festival. Beside that, the discount works best during the weekends rather than on weekdays. 2 very common looking information, but if it is backed by the data, don't you think this information is a very vital information for that retailer to take certain decision and double the sale over a period of 2 years or 1 year? So, what is the understanding? What is the learning? Even basic marketing information, one single terminal at the billing counter of apparel retail store owner and the analysis of data captured in that single counter is good enough to decide about the color display in the shop during different festivals and offering of discount not in the weekdays but in weekends can change the fortune of the entire retail store. See the beauty of data, see the beauty of information and see the importance of its in decision making. That is what we need to understand for. So, what is marketing information system? Let us come to point directly. What is marketing information system? If you go by the name itself, certain information which captured by system to help the marketing is marketing information system. A layman's definition, a very common understanding. But if I ask you, can you differentiate between data and information? How will you differentiate data with information? Data is simply the capturing of happening in certain format. Information is if you process that data, then you generate a kind of information, then you generate a kind of understanding provided by the data elements. That is what the information is. Now, if I complicate further, how will you differentiate data, information with knowledge? Easy to answer or difficult to answer? Just think about it. Now, data is raw, information is processed. What about knowledge? Knowledge is simply that kind of information which holds utility for us, that is knowledge. So, we may have lots of information bombarded, we have lots of data bombarded rather to say on us, our five sensory organs are capturing all those particular data elements, and our brain as a processor is processing all those data elements and generating the information. But how many bits and pieces of information we are able to recall or use for our purposes? It's only those information which are having utility for us, we are able to recall. That's what knowledge is. So, whatever we are discussing in this lecture, if you are getting certain utility, if you are getting certain value, that is bound to enhance your knowledge, that is bound to enhance your learning, and that's what we keep on discussing, the learning objective in the beginning and the summary at the end, so that you can have a quick understanding what we are going to cover, and with summary we can understand what we actually covered. That's what the difference between data knowledge and data information and knowledge. And marketing information system, if we try to make it a technical kind of definition, by and large adapted from the Kotler, a structured interaction of people, equipment and procedures to gather, sort, analyze, evaluate, distribute timely and accurate marketing information. Now, just think, what are the keywords? A structured interaction of people with equipment and procedure. So, whenever there is interaction between two entities, there are chances to generate a kind of a structured element of information. Now, if you collect, not to say information, a structure kind of data, and if you gather that data, sort that data and analyze the data to evaluate certain thing, don't you think you generate the information? And this generated information is helping the managers to evaluate, and you distribute it to different stakeholders of the organization, and that information holds value if it is timely and if it is accurate. If you are providing any information which is outdated, it will not serve any purpose. So, today if you are saying something which happened many weeks back and it does not have any relevance today, what is the purpose of sharing? Similarly, if information is not accurate, it is somehow manipulated, fabricated, manufactured, then there is again a chance of wrong decisions. So, accuracy and timeliness is basic requirement of information, and if all these things are happening to facilitate, to help the marketing manager, that is what the marketing information system is. So, it is a gathering, sorting, analyzing, evaluating and disseminating, distributing the bits and pieces of information, collecting the data. That is what marketing information system. But nowadays we are talking more not only about marketing information system, we are talking about MIE. What is this? It is a marketing information ecosystem. What is this? Where we are not only talking in terms of the different component of information system, we are talking a total picture of the entire system and saying it is an ecosystem where the input, process, output is governed by the requirement of by the users as well as information gathering by different elements. Every bits and pieces are integrated to make this system work beautifully and create an ecosystem. Now, whenever you want to develop marketing information system, then you have to take into consideration certain questions or you have to answer certain questions. I just try to find out certain categorical questions which help marketing manager to develop or build the marketing information system. So, what might be the first one? What decisions do you regularly make? Marketing manager need to answer what decision they regularly made. Second one, What information do you need to make these decisions? If you are making a decision, those decision must be based on certain elements of information. So, what are those information? For example, a marketing manager is making daily adjustment in price. That is what dynamic pricing we are talking about. For dynamic pricing, don't you think the demand of that particular entity is a very crucial information? So, that is what information do you need to make these decisions. So, dynamic pricing, until unless you have the access of real time demand of the entity, demand of product or service, dynamic pricing is not possible. What information do you regularly get? How you are getting, or what kind of information you are regularly getting as an update from different sorts, update from different system. What special studies do you periodically request? There are certain things where you need not to bother on a regular basis, on a routine manner, but you time to time want to check. For example, what are the changes going on in macro environmental factor? What are the changes going on in the consumer taste? What are the changes going on in terms of technological dimension? What are the possibilities, say, changes in legal and political arena? So, periodically you are looking for those information, might not be you are regularly checking all those information. Then further, in terms of question to be asked, what information would you want that you are not getting now? There might be certain piece of information marketing manager is realizing they have to have this information, but still certain components are missing and you are not able to create a overall picture. And if you are not able to create an overall picture, it means you are not able to generate a right decision. You are not able to take a right decision. So, identify the missing component, the missing links. What information would you want daily, weekly, that is talking in terms of frequency of information. You may categorize these information, routine information, provide it to me daily. These are again routine information or some kind of operational information, provide me weekly. These are not very routine information, provide me monthly or in a quarter. Certain frequency you have to have decide while designing the marketing information system. Similarly, what data analysis programs would you want? What kind of decisions you want to make for? So, if you want to go for customer segmentation, there are certain kind of analytical techniques. If you want to go for pricing decision, there are another set of techniques which will talk about all those particular analysis. So, you have to decide what kind of analytical tools are required to extract the information from the data. And finally, what are the four most helpful improvement that could be made in the present? If you are having the existing system, then you have to have think in terms of making this system more robust and updated. How is it possible? What are the different lacuna which you are facing and what you want to eliminate? What are the bugs which you want to eliminate? What are the different deficiency which you want to eliminate? So, if you are evaluating, if you are answering these 8 questions, definitely the organization or the developers of marketing information system can provide you a state of art marketing information system. Now, this is the picture which looks like a marketing information system, and just see in one side there are different elements of marketing environment. Those include the macro and micro environmental factor. It's a symbolic list, it's not a complete list. We already discussed the macro and micro environmental factor. So, if you infuse all those factors which we discussed in our last lecture, that will make this list comprehensive. Then we are having the marketing managers who are supposed to take decision, and those managers are doing broadly the 3 components of their activities. The 3 components are planning, execution and controlling their activities. So, whatever the strategies they are formulating, they are executing those strategies and later on checking out the outcomes, whether the successful strategic implementation was there or not. So, that is what marketing managers are doing. This marketing information system, just see the marketing managers and marketing environment marketing manager, it is making a closed loop, and in between the same there are 4 components. First one is internal report system, then we are having the marketing intelligence system, then we are having marketing research system, and finally we are having the analytical marketing system, which is also termed as marketing decision support system. So let's take one by one these four systems. The first one is internal record system. What is internal record system? Order to payment cycle, sales information system, database, data warehouse, data mining. These terms are quite common. So databases, you are generating the data warehousing, the data storage we are talking, and accordingly order to payment cycle. Just think about one single big organized retail outlet and just recall your experience. When you pick the different items and put it in your cart, and later on when you are going to the billing counter, putting one by one items, and the person is just scanning the item, and accordingly the bill is generated, you are making payment. It means you are generating lots and lots of data, and this retail outlet may have a server where all these data are going to be stored. And suppose if this retail outlet is a chain retail outlet, then imagine the bulk of data this system can produce to understand the consumer behavior, to understand the consumer preferences. That is what internal record system is. So wherever you automate the regular routine functions of marketing and capturing the entire thing all together in form of data, that constitute the internal record system. Now come to next level, the marketing intelligence system, the next component, not to say level, the next component of marketing information system, that is marketing intelligence system. Now what this marketing intelligence system talks about? This is actually talks about a procedure, sources used by manager to obtain everyday information and developments in marketing environment. What does it mean? What do you understand by intelligence? Just try to focus on the word intelligence. We have Intelligence Bureau, IB, we have RAW, we have different intelligence agencies. Mossad is very popular in Israel. We have American intelligence agencies, the Pakistani intelligence agencies. Every nation is having intelligence agency. What function they perform? They try to unearth something hidden. They try to capture which is going on but not noticeable by a bare eyes. That's what intelligence is. And that's what marketing intelligence system is doing. They are trying to capture the happenings at the macro and micro environmental factors, and which is not easily analyzable, easily identifiable, easily observable by marketer. But this system is facilitating in capturing and making the connection between different captures and providing you one very valuable input which may help you to take a very futuristic, a very intelligent kind of marketing decision. It's possible. That is why the internal record system, we talk in terms of it captures the resultant data. Just see. Whereas the marketing intelligence system captures the happening data. Just see the difference. One is capturing the resultant data, the other is capturing the happening data. Now just see the beauty of these two. Happening data means something is happening which need to be taken care, otherwise it could hamper your prospect. Resultant data, something happened and you simply reporting it, capturing it and generating a information or bits and pieces of information. That's the difference. Now what is marketing research system? Don't you think whatever the information system we are having, that need to be essentially have one component, that is research. What exactly we mean by research? Research means we are collecting certain kind of data from the market and accordingly analyze the same to find out the details. So it's a guided effort, it's a planned effort, it's an engagement, it's an activity, maybe by the organization and its employee or its expert altogether, maybe by the marketing people, and several times it's outsourced to the third party who are having expertise to provide you the research inputs, to conduct research as per your requirement. For example, one organization want to launch a new product, but organization is not sure what kind of product they want to launch or what kind of gaps exist at the marketplace. You have to have conduct a survey at the market and find out the position of different products in the minds of customer. So if you are capable, you have resources, you have the capability, you have the expertise, do it by yourself. But many times the organizations are finding this is one specific kind of skill set required to conduct a very scientific kind of research. Let's hire one agency who is having an expertise, who is having a competency on holding and doing the research altogether. So they keep on hiring the agencies, and those agencies are collecting data, primary, secondary, and whatever the possible sources, and then producing a report which helps the marketers to take a decision. This is what marketing research system is. Now, if I try to give you a glimpse, because marketing research is such a big domain which may consume or it may take one entire course to cover the marketing research in 12 weeks or 8 weeks. So, I am just giving you a glimpse of marketing research system. What may be the marketing research steps? It starts with, every research starts with defining the problem and research objective. You have to have defined the problem, and it's very well said, problem well defined means problem half solved. So, if you are able to define what exactly the problem on which you are going to start your work, you identify, then your work is relatively easier rather than exploring without identification of problem in a concrete manner. So, if you are able to identify problem, then it may be pinpointed in terms of objective which you want to achieve for, and accordingly you may lead towards a situation where you develop a research plan. Research plan or research design is basically the entire blueprint which you have to have follow to make your research a methodical and systematic research. Because if your research is not methodical, if your research is not systematic, and if it is not having a scientific temperament, it can't be called as a research. I am not talking about the research in different discipline. I am talking about the research in general. Research in general need to be planned, need to be goal oriented, objective oriented, it need to be systematic. And how you can make your research systematic? If you plan it, if you design it, what I have to do, how I need to do, what are the different tools and technique I need to go for. If you plan it, make a blueprint of the same, then it will be easier for you to execute. That's what the developing the research plan is. Next step is, you develop a research plan, then you have to go to the market, because marketing research without going to the market is a relatively difficult proposition. Yes. So, collect the information. Where will you collect the information? You will collect the information at the marketplace. You will collect the information at those particular points which are points of concern. Is it? So, collect the information, whether it's a primary source, whether it's a secondary source, whether you need to collect it by yourself, whether you need to collect it with your different assistants or different kind of research assistants you have in your research. After collection of information, even at the collection of information, we need to develop the different collection tools. If it is a primary research, then you need to develop the data collection tool. If it is primary research, again you need to decide in terms of sample, whether you want to go for census, whether you want to go for sample. Sample is simply a representative unit of population. What will be the tools and technique of this? How you are going to measure and scale all the responses from your sample unit. All these things are part and parcel of collecting the information, that includes the designing the tool of your data collection. So, if you collect the data, then naturally you move to the next step, that is analyzing the information. Data processed generate information. Now as a researcher, you have to analyze the information. What meaning it convey to you? What are the basic implications of those particular information? And then you present the findings in a certain manner. You present the finding in a certain kind of output required as by the user. This is what presenting the finding. And to whom you are supposed to present in case of marketing research? You need to present it to the marketers, the decision maker, the organization which hired you, which actually dictated you, not to say dictate, which actually requested you to conduct a research. That is what presenting the findings, whether it is a oral, whether it is a written, what kind of presentation you want to have or the organization want to have, you have to have prepare accordingly and present it. Based on your scientific data backed findings, the decision maker, the marketers will make a right kind of decision, and this is the purpose of marketing research process. Next one is marketing decision support or marketing analytical system. What exactly this is? In the first slide, we talked about the data warehousing and data mining. Now, suppose I am giving you one particular question to think about. As I mentioned earlier, every retail store nowadays having the terminals for billing, and every billing counter is generating lots and lots of data which can be clubbed and combined to generate different kind of report. So, suppose a retail store manager want to have daily, weekly, monthly, maybe yearly, half yearly report, and your system is capable to generate all those reports, maybe based on the product, maybe based on the customer, maybe based on the category, maybe based on the price, whatever the criteria the manager want to have, your system is generating all those reports. Can we call this, because whatever data you are having generating by your system, you are storing somewhere. So, storage, whether it is in system, whether it is in server or in the cloud, that is what data warehousing is. Generating report from those particular data elements and accordingly producing it to the retail store manager, can it be called as a data mining? Majority of time I used to get the answer, yes sir, it can be, but actually it is not. Why it is not? Until unless you make certain relational analysis between different data element and infer something which is hidden by mingling the different data elements, it is not data mining. Take very simple example. Now, my retail store manager, as a data analyst in that retail store, my retail store manager want answer of one very simple question. And what is the question? The question is, tell me the probability that if a consumer or a customer picks a bottle of cold drink, he or she will pick a pack of snacks. Now, as an analyst, I need to club these two information, the pick of cold drink and the pick of snacks. I need to relate these two and find out whether there is any correlation between these two elements. And suppose if I am finding there is a strong correlation that 70% of the time, if a person picks a cold drink, he or she picks a packet of snack. Don't you think that is an amazing information for a retail store manager? With this 70% chance that a person picks a cold drink will pick a packet of a snack, it is a very big input to design the category inside the store. So, suppose if cold drinks are placed far from the pack of snacks and retail store manager now clubbing these two, making the shelf of cold drink near to the shelf of snacks. So, if chance is 70%, it may turn out to be 80 or 90%. By one single piece of information, you can increase your sale, you can increase your revenue. That is what data mining, and that is what the marketing decision support system provides. Remember, marketing decision support system is not providing you the decision. It's a support provided to the decision maker. So every bits and pieces of information collected by record system, internal record system, marketing intelligence system, marketing research system, clubbed together, analyze with certain analytical tools and technique, and giving you the different possibilities. So if a marketing manager is posing a question, so this system will give you the possible answer. That's what nowadays Gen AI is doing. That's what generative artificial intelligence is doing. So if you are giving these things, so this is the alternative one in terms of solution to your problem with outcome X. This is alternative 2 with outcome Y. This is alternative 3 with outcome Z. Now it's the decision maker who need to evaluate each alternative with the possible outcome and take the best possible decision. So it's aiding, it's not giving. That's you need to understand, and that is what marketing decision support system talks about. So in summary, in nutshell, we have to have understand no organization can survive without MIS nowadays. So MIS is critical to modern marketing. Agree? Similarly, marketing information system helps marketer to turn data into insights. That's what we discovered with the different examples we covered during the session of the retailer or of the other parties who need to take a wise and insightful understanding and accordingly making decision. And remember, all organization, whether it's a big, a small, definitely going to get benefit from the structured marketing information system rather than an ad hocism approach or ad hoc kind of marketing information system. So your home assignment, think of a company as per the norm which we are setting in our course. Just think about, I am not burdening you, but I am simply trying to make you think reflectively with understanding which we discussed during the lecture. Think of a company that impressed you with their marketing strategy. Do you think MIS played a role? Why or why not? Relatively difficult to answer because it's not easy for a simple customer or consumer to find out the details of MIS the organization is using. But if you are capable, if you are having some connection or if you are having interest, you have some conversation, you observe certain thing, then only try to answer this particular question. Read the blog, very beautiful blog, just type the title, how to set up a simple MIS for your business, and you will find some beautiful details related with the marketing information system. So thank you for your attention. We covered the marketing information system, and this marketing information system and the understanding of marketing environment in our first lecture will make a base to move forward for third lecture, that is marketing planning system. Thank you again.